Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are joined by the lovely Emma Dearden and her little cocker spaniel with the cutest fringe and ears. A fellow Scot for Emma, so I'm totally outnumbered. Um, yeah, we first learned about Emma when she joined the Scotland team for the country relays at the World Champs in Chicago. She has an awesome solo pro time of 1:08, a time that broke the 70-minute barrier that we know a lot of people would love to break, and one that she worked really hard to achieve for 12 months. She's also a PE teacher, an online coach. So loads to get into on today's episode. And thank you for joining us, Emma.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Oh no, it's really good to have you on. I think there's a lot we can cover, but maybe firstly we could start with like the relay for the World Champs and kind of maybe the process into that. I know that Graham Halliday was captain and put out a workout, which I was meant to do myself and didn't actually manage to squeeze it in. And I think I used the Dubai heat as a bit of an excuse. So maybe you could give us an insight into, yeah, the whole process of how you ended up representing Scotland at the HYROX World Champs.
Oh, it was amazing. I actually don't blame you not for giving it a go. It was horrendous. No, so I tried out last year. He did the similar process last year as well, making it fair for everyone, which I think is a great opportunity for the everyday athletes like myself. So the workout was 1K run as fast as you can into 15 deadlifts at 50, 30 dumbbell thrusters into a 600-meter row. So that was all for time.
What were the thrust? What was the weight of the thrusters?
2 7.5s.
Okay, yeah. So,
So it doesn't sound a lot.
but yeah.
I was like, oh, it's fine. It was horrendous. So it was
One of
kind
those workouts where you look at it and you go, oh yeah, that'll be easy. And then when you're in it, you're
of,
like, oh my God.
I know. So it was kind of like a CrossFit workout, which is great because I've done a bit of CrossFit myself. So I just thought, you know what, there's nothing to lose. Let's just go for it. It was quite nice. I've got the keys to like our gym, so I opened the door, and like a lot of my friends were there as well to cheer me on, which is just really nice. So did that. Didn't hear anything from Graham for a couple of weeks. Sure, Graham won't mind me saying. And then I got a dreaded text. I was like, oh my goodness. And then it said, can't decide between you and another girl. Would you mind doing another workout? And I was like, oh no.
Oh,
So that was fine. I think it was a 4-minute max run into 120 dumbbell thrusters at the same weight. Um,
Oh,
the run had to be outside and you had to film it all. Now, if you've looked at my Instagram, I'm not the best at filming myself at all. So I was like, how am I going to film myself running? So my fiance, bless him, he was chasing me from behind with his camera, like filming me. So I was like, don't slow down. So 4-minute max run into 120 dumbbell thrusters. So after that thankfully might push my time up a wee bit. So yeah, he said, we'd love to have you on board. And then a group chat was made. I know Liam, he used to coach my fiance, and I know him from like some CS fitness stuff and things like that. And Nicola, who you've also had on the podcast, she actually went to uni with my brother. So it was a
oh.
really weird concoction of people, but it was so much fun. And the event itself was like surreal. I just felt like not out of place, but when you're looking around, I'm like, oh, that there's so and so and there's so and so. It was really cool.
yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah, no. I think like I mean you touched on it there a little bit, kind of like the opportunity for maybe more of an everyday athlete to then be involved and like race with some of the elites, like I think the American team had all four like elite 15 athletes, and there was a real mix, I think, of like more experienced elite level athletes and everyday athletes. But like, did you feel like probably very overwhelmed, but like welcomed into it? Were you super nervous? Like, how did racing against, I think we wanted to touch on like the order, sometimes you were probably out on the track with males, which then makes the running even harder because technically the males usually will be lapping like quicker. So how did the whole like actual race experience feel?
They were all, it was a super welcoming experience, and like, so much respect for Graham. He's an amazing athlete. Like even to just be like racing as part of his team is incredible. He's also just the most laid back human ever, so you didn't ever feel like pressure on yourself at all. I actually raced the Friday morning, so the relay was 7 o'clock at night on the Friday, and I raced at 9:30 in the morning. So, and the order was already decided, and you have to like submit it, and you can't change it. So I knew that I was on the sled push, and after my solo race, that was all that was going through my head. You know, I had a little meltdown, but that's okay. You know, I can't move the sled. What am I going to do? It all worked out fine. I mean, I did push it, but in terms of like the atmosphere was great, don't get me wrong, but I think compared to Nice, where it was like so busy for the relay, I think a lot of people were tuning in from YouTube from online. So when you were running around the track, you know, you could hear people, but I think you're just so in your own zone that you physically can't hear a thing. And I like to train majority of the time with, you know, with boys, with men. So it didn't throw me off that I was racing against them. I think it just made me even more stubborn.
Yeah. And what you did the sled push? Did you? What was was it wall balls? I'm guessing with all the thrust.
Oh no!
Oh, was it
Okay.
burpees? Oh wow!
I said one thing to Nicola. I said, please take the wall balls.
Okay, yeah, fair.
We're on the wall balls. Me and the wall balls have an interesting relationship.
I mean, if you're gonna choose burpees over wall balls, that is saying something, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. I actually got a warning on the burpees, so I was so ever since then I was so careful because it was basically like you get one warning, and then if you get a second warning, your whole team's disqualified. So I think Liam got one on the sled pull as well. So I think we were just like, you know, we're just being really cautious. So yeah, it was an interesting experience.
Did you find the judging a lot different to racing in like the open categories? Did you find that like they were on you a lot more? Because I'm guessing you had one judge per like country, a bit like the grid racing.
Yeah, I mean the grid racing format was just, you know, amazing experience as well. It's definitely given me fire in my belly for me to let me do one on the grid one day. But yeah, the judging, rightly so. You know, you are racing for your country, and it must be what the elites feel as well. You've got a judge on you the whole time, and that's your judge for your country. I mean, it was funny when I went down for the burpees, and it's like, you know, his face is there. I'm like, hi, you know, every single time. But yeah, they were fair. If you're gonna, you know, if the athlete needs to be accountable for what they're doing, so yeah, hats off to them.
Yeah. And how did I'm going to rewind a little bit. How did your solo race go in the morning, bar the sled fiasco that that happened? Did you feel like you had time to recover during the day between the morning race and the evening race? I mean, there was a lot of people doing multiple racing that weekend, I think, because of the way that they structured the program this time was slightly different. So did you feel like your morning race went well and you had good recovery, or did it just slightly terrify you for the evening?
You know what? The whole trip was like a whirlwind. So I landed at 3 p.m. Thursday. So I knew Friday was just going to be like adrenaline to get me through. I was happy with that. My body recovered absolutely fine. For me, I think it was more mental. I mean, I always doubt myself, so the fact that I was running for my country, you know, it just kind of got in my head a little bit. But as soon as you're there and you know what you have to do, that kind of all goes. My race in the morning, you know, I've seen a lot on social media of people not making excuses about the sled at all. But you know, they did move for some people. So for me, that's a highlight of, you know, where I might have to work more on my strength. It threw me off more mentally than anything. Like I said before, I was happy with how I raced because every single other thing other than the sleds was a PB. It just so happened that it took me double the time both on the sled push and pull. So take that out, you know, take my normal time into consideration. I was on for like a 105, like high 105, low 106. So I know that time that I got wasn't a true representation of, you know, the work that I've put in, because people train, you know, all year for this, and then it's like an hour, you know, out of your life that, because when I come back home, the only thing people ask is, what was your time? You know, how did you do? What was your time? And for someone who doesn't actually understand the process of HYROX, you know, your time isn't the be all and end all. Yes, I was buzzing to break 70 minutes in Glasgow because I know that's where I'm at. You know, I'd like to think I'm at the 107 mark. So gutting in the morning, but I think the evening made up for it. So
I think like quite a few, yeah, I think I mean I know what you're saying, and like some people were pushing the sled and we saw the same thing, but we watched like all day on Friday, didn't we? And some people just the sleds weren't the same. So I think, yeah, and I think you're right. You have to look at the areas in your race that did go to plan, or you did do well, and you've got to take positives from there and know that in the next race, maybe if the sleds are a bit better and you've PB'd and everything else and your running's going well, hopefully it's within you to then hit that, you know, 105, 106 and where you feel like all your hard work's taken you to.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's the amazing thing about HYROX, you know, the thoughts that go through your head is, I would love to like, you know, how someone can just pull out your thoughts when you're running. So the run after the sled push, I wasn't ready to give up, because I wouldn't have given up, but you know, that thought's going through your head like, I'm so behind, blah blah blah. But all my runs felt so smooth. They felt like recovery, which is amazing. I've really been working hard on my running. So I think to pull it back from that, you know, I am proud of myself. It was just so funny. I was in the top 4 girls in my wave, and we all ran in the exact same time, and we got in our position, and we pushed down low, and none of us moved it more than like 50 centimeters, and we stood up and looked at each other, and we're like, is this a joke? We all didn't know whether to cry or laugh, so we decided to laugh. But yeah, you could definitely see, I think it kind of pulled out the mentally tough athletes on the sled push for sure. But yeah, it was an experience.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people will relate, like listening to this.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will probably feel like they were in the same position. So I think like your mindset going forward, and to take the positives from it, and like to look at this different sections of a race, and like the running you felt good as a recovery is really important. Like you have to hold on to those like wins, because you have trained really hard for it, and it's definitely a good mindset, good way to look at it. So what about if we go even further back to how you got into HYROX in the first place, and how the goal of breaking the 70 minutes came about? And I think maybe a lot of listeners will potentially be on that brink of, that's their goal, and they want to get a bit better in the solo time, like how, or even in the doubles, like on the verge of that. How did the journey start for you?
So I started HYROX 2022, I think. I was at CrossFit gym, the same gym that Ava Faye comes to when she's in Scotland. Yeah, so I started there, but I was always a fan of like the long engine workouts for CrossFit. You know, I love a heavy barbell, but bar muscle ups just, they can sit at the side. So I was always kind of like the running, the wall balls, the barbell cycling, and I just kind of built up an engine from there. And it was a coach that still coaches me now at CrossFit. You know, it was just kind of like a word that was going around the gym, like HYROX. And I was like, what is it? So I looked at it and I thought, oh, me and my fiance actually, we went for it the first time it came to Glasgow. So Glasgow 2022. And that was our first one. And me being me, I don't know who I thought I was, but I went for Women's Pro straight away. So I've never actually done a Women's Open. So I went for Women's Pro and I had no expectation. I knew I was an all right runner. I knew I could push the weights like I've done it in training. So I just thought, let's go and have fun. It was actually very busy, the first one. Were you at Glasgow 2022?
No,
We haven't done Glasgow, have we?
No, we haven't done it yet. Yeah, we've always been working away. Yeah.
Oh, it's an amazing venue. So like quite a lot of people from our gym went, I think maybe about 20. And I raced in the morning and Matt raced in the evening. And we both did pro. And I got 117, but I managed to win my age group with that. So, you know, my first one, and I won my age group. And I thought, okay, hang on a second. Like, if I actually trained specifically for it, then this could be something. So ever since then, I've just been tailoring my training towards the HYROX movements and building my running up, building my strength up. I've done 9 women's pro. I've done 4 mixed doubles, and I've done a women's doubles as well. So I've done quite a lot of categories, and the sub 70 only came last year. I was on the brink, like I got my time down from 117 to 112 in Glasgow. I like using the same course just to compare. So like every year, Glasgow's kind of like my peak. So 117, and then the next year 112, and then this year 108. So I'm going down in 4 minutes. So if I could get a 104, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, you've got
trend.
consistency in the trend there. That's really, really cool. And do you think the biggest thing that's improved would be the running? Like, as you've said, from kind of a CrossFit background, and probably the weights were okay for you going straight in at the pro. Like, is that where you think you've improved the most, or mentally, or?
So I've also got a hockey and touch rugby background, and I run track. So 400 meters was my event. So I've always had that, you know, speed endurance. So I think I would have liked to have said that running was my strength, but I don't think it's anyone's strength in HYROX, because that's when you can chip away, you know, 2, 3, 4 seconds every run. So I think when in my first Glasgow, I thought I was a really strong runner, but I think I just needed to tailor what I was doing and not going for random, you know, 5, 8Ks trying to get better. It needs to be a structure. So I think that's the biggest thing that's changed, and that's what's chipped my runs away. Mindset, I would still say that's one of my biggest weaknesses. I've actually always said to my partner, and he's always said to me, like, I'll only become dangerous in the sport when I believe in myself. So that's not come yet. Here's hoping. So when that comes, I'm excited to see what I can do.
What do you think needs to change for that to come? Do you think you need to get, is there like a, do you need to get sub 60? Do you need to get in the elite 15? Do you need to, what do you think it is that will make you believe that you can do it?
I really don't know. Like you know, the getting in Team Scotland really was definitely a boost for that.
Yeah.
You know, like hundreds of girls applied, and I was the one, but it still didn't sit right. So I don't know what it'll take. Maybe for me, my goal is always the elite 15. You know, I'm playing the long game, but I don't know why it couldn't be me. The way that I train, the way, you know, my mindset towards training is always, you know, I get it done. It's just when it comes to the actual race. I always write main character energy on my wrist, and that's not like a cocky thing. You know, I stand there like a little rabbit in headlights. But that just makes me feel, you know, I deserve to be on the start line as much as everyone else. So let's just go and race. And you know, the girls make it so nice. You meet people on the start line that I've met Hannah on my first World Championships in Manchester, and I've seen her every World Champs, and saw her again in Chicago. And you know, that way she's from America, and it's just so nice that we've been racing each other for 3 years consecutively. So yeah, it's nice.
That is cool. It's funny, isn't it? Mindset and psychology, and like, what does it take for somebody to believe in themselves? Like, other people usually, I mean, does your fiance believe in you more than you do? Usually someone has a coach or a partner or a, you know, a parent that believes that they can do it more than the individual themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the best support network around me. Matt, he's my biggest cheerleader. I think he always will be. But he's like that himself. He doesn't believe in himself either. So
Okay.
it's a weird one. I know my coach at CrossFit, Trev, he's a man of few words, but when I got into the Scotland team, you know, he sent me a message, and even him saying well done, like proud of you, is like, it means so much because he never says it to anyone. So I'm like, okay, I must be doing something okay. But then he went back to his normal self the week after. So
Oh, that's cool though. And then you said it about your running, and obviously you just touched on a CrossFit coach. So do you still do CrossFit, and is he your coach, or did you get a running coach, or have you got a HYROX coach now? What's your...
So I did the first 1.5 seasons with no coach, just kind of going through the motions. And then I thought, to get to that next level, I was still on the 112 mark, and I was like, I'm stuck here. So I got a coach, but I think that came at a wrong time. It was when I was just starting full-time work, and it was a lot of pressure to put on myself, and I think I just completely shut down from it all. Like, I fell out of love with the sport. I didn't want to train. It all just became a wee bit overwhelming. So I stopped having my coach, and I mean, she's a fantastic coach, but it just didn't work for me at the time. So I'm actually back coaching myself. I'm in a much better headspace. I know what my daily routine looks like. I don't deviate from that. You know, I'm a priority, and I'll make myself a priority. Um, when I say coach at CrossFit, he just runs the classes. But I've known him since I was like 14. So he knows a lot about me. I'm lucky enough to have the keys to that gym, so I can, whether it's 4 a.m., I can go in and just close the doors and get my stuff done. I still go to a couple of the classes because, you know, training at this intensity on your own, it gets so lonely. That was kind of one of the main things that made me fall out of love with it. It's so lonely. So, like tonight, I've got a group class. It's a HYROX class. I go with all my friends. You know, there's no pressure on it, and that's one of the things that I love. Also coaching myself, I can allow for that because I think it's so important. Like training with others.
I think it is a really important message, because I think people can get sucked into, you know, I need to improve, I need to get a coach, I need the structure, but if it doesn't work for you and your setup, and if then your mindset isn't in the right place because of it, it's not going to have a positive effect. You need to have something that works for you, and then the results will come because you're happier, you're enjoying training, you're probably pushing harder in the sessions you need to, but then you're recovering when you need to because you know what suits around your schedule. And like, different things work at different times, don't they? It doesn't mean you might not get a coach in the future. It just, for this period of time, it's what works best for you. And I think sometimes that's good for people to hear, because people will maybe look at social media and see everyone's got a coach and everyone's got really structured training and doing this, and that's what I need to do. And it's not one size fits all, is it?
Absolutely. And I think I wanted something so much. I still want to be one of the best women pros in the everyday athlete field. But I think that I took it too far, you know, and I was actually on a bike erg in the CrossFit gym, and I was just bawling my eyes out. And I was like, why am I here? You know, I'm here because it says to be here, but if I'm not in the right headspace and, you know, my body's in agony, like, it's not doing anything. So I still need to listen to my body, but I work an hour away. So if I didn't get up at 4 a.m. and take off my first session, you know, when my alarm went off at, say, 5:30 when it normally does, and I hadn't done that first session, my whole day would be me having a mental, like, meltdown because, you know, I hadn't done my first session of the day. I couldn't live like that. So yeah, I'm really happy with where I am now. You know, I've got 6 weeks off this summer, so I'm living like a full-time athlete, and I kind of like it. It's quite nice.
I was gonna say, because you're a PE teacher, so you've got the summer holidays. I was gonna say, is there an off season for you? But it's probably not, because you're like, yes, off season means like I can actually train like a full-time athlete and have a boot camp for 6 weeks.
So it is an off season. I haven't actually booked any competitions. I'm on a couple of wait lists. I just think I need like a big block under my belt to build that engine. So this summer is all about building my strength, building my baseline runs, adding intensity and just trying to get in the best shape and condition possible for when I do decide to run, to race, sorry. I actually looked at Abu Dhabi last night, but the tickets aren't on sale anymore. I was like, oh, I could just go. I think that would be a bit silly.
I know, it does get tempting though, doesn't it?
So-
How do you find it hard to fit racing around? Obviously, you work, like you teach Monday to Friday, I presume. So it's
sorry.
no, go for it.
I work in a private school, so it's actually Saturday I work as well. So it comes with a lot of responsibility, but I also wouldn't have it any other way. So Monday to Saturday, and I coach a HYROX kids class on a Sunday. So it's full on, but I love it.
That's
Is
so
that
cool.
is that at the school you do the HYROX kids class, or is that at the gym?
No, so I run HYROX classes at the school at lunchtimes, and then HYROX kids class is at our new gym over in Alloa.
Oh,
I say our new gym. I don't own it. It's Trev's gym. I just say our gym.
But community, isn't it? That's brilliant. That's exactly what is a good gym. People believe that it's like theirs as well, and that's
Yeah.
part of it, isn't it? Growing the community. But we were talking actually before earlier this morning, weren't we, on the way back from the gym, about whether HYROX has made it into secondary schools or like primary schools, and whether kids are doing HYROX movements and whether it's got that far. So I'm guessing, I mean, you just answered the question that I was going to ask. It has, and kids are getting like involved in HYROX, or
So I think from where I stand, I don't think they know HYROX as HYROX. I think they know it as, especially the year groups that I teach and coach. I think they know it as like a fitness race. I don't think they understand like the structure of it just yet. But I've got, some 10-year-old girls shifting 150 kilograms on the sled. Like it's insane.
so they've got sleds at the school.
Yeah, so we're a hockey and rugby focused school. So it's great for like the first 15, first 11 to push themselves on that. But yeah, we've got a sled at the school, we've got an athletics track, which is great. And then at Alloa, we've got obviously all the movements. So me and my fiance are just organising like a mini HYROX race for them to do. Because if it's not competitive, they just tune out. They just want to beat each other. So
that's so cool. Is it an all-girls school or it's
no
mixed?
Yeah.
I mean, how cool would that? I'd have loved that at school. I mean, I'm sure all of us would, and I think anyone that does HYROX now is like, oh, I wish it was around when I was younger. And then it's amazing that it is, and it's really cool to hear that it is breaking into schools, and kids are starting to hear about a fitness race, whether they understand what HYROX is at the moment or not. Just the fact they're getting involved, they're pushing sleds, they're running, I don't know, do you do wall balls and things with them, or is it like, do you give them weights and they do like thrusters and things, or how far do you go into it, or do you just make up a fitness race with different movements and they just...
Yeah, so again, as well on a Sunday, we tend to just do like wall ball carries. Because they're as young as, like 7. So they have a wall ball and they carry it. But we had one guy at Alloa who had like the 15-kilogram wall ball, and he was like waddling. It's like,
dude,
on you go. Like he was loving it. But again, I think it's so important that HYROX and understanding how to go to the gym as well and use the equipment properly is so important, because team sports are amazing, and I encourage every single person to be involved in team sports. But I think that gym community is coming up so much. I think it's important we teach them the fundamentals. So I'm incorporating that in my lessons, gym, and because they'll probably leave and they'll go to uni, and they'll want to use the gym, and just having that confidence that it's a space for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. And it is important to like teach correct form and get the basics, and like try as much as possible to instill the correct habits from a young age, and then that'll just carry through. I mean, yeah, it's really cool that like there is so much for younger kids now, and especially females. Like, so hopefully as like girls and women grow up, they maybe won't be as intimidated to go into a gym, and they'll feel more confident to just start using weights and get involved. Like, yeah, how exciting.
Absolutely. I mean, what the school that I went to, I was on like a hockey program there, so we were doing strength and conditioning from the age of like 14, and that was before school. So I just remember sitting in my form class, and my friends had gone to the gym and done like Pilates or something, and I was just pushing to try and get like a 90 kg back squat at the age of like 15. And I was like sat in form thinking like, am I the Hulk or something? But like, it's such, now I look back at it and I'm like, I was always like focused from such a young age that I'd always like had goals in mind. So I think for me, growing up on a strength conditioning background and performance-based background, I think it's also nice that like has come full circle and I'm now teaching that to others. So yeah, I definitely love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're lucky to have you as well. It's so good to have, when you see teachers passionate about what they do, you realize that kids are so. I had like a really, really good teacher that loved netball, like, and we were just like a small school, like in the center, like middle of Birmingham, and she took us like all the way to the nationals, and we were all like matching scrunchies in our hair, and we had to have the same socks, and like she was really strict with us. But when you look back, I'm like, she was just so impressionable, like. I absolutely loved playing netball with those girls. We would turn up to training on time. Like, she just instilled, I mean, she ran it like a military operation, but still.
Sometimes you have to.
Yeah, so I mean, now I look back, I'm like fair with the kids, but like, yeah, you get for any child that like is into sport, and a lot of kids at school aren't academic, and PE is one of their like their favorite lessons. It's great to have a teacher that's so passionate and can bring it into the school.
I think for me, like, that's so nice to hear that it's had an impact on you, but for me that's the difference of someone turning up and like doing their job and someone turning up and genuinely caring about their job. Like, I had cards from my primary school kids wishing me good luck for HYROX. They hadn't got a clue what HYROX was at that time, so it's lovely and it's such a rewarding job. Like, I genuinely love it. I mean, I was excited for the summer, living like an athlete life, but I've only been off 2 weeks and I've already said to Matt, like, I don't know what to do with myself. I really don't.
And did any of them watch you on YouTube? Did they like watch the stream, or was it more or parents maybe?
Yeah, so I think the parents, I mean, they say they did, but I'm like, oh, okay. But again, it was just kind of like, Miss Dearden, like, did you win? Did you win? I'm like, no, it's not all about winning.
Got a life lesson here, kids.
I've learned the hard way.
That's so good. So what about, we spoke about goals there, how you've kind of always been performance driven and had goals since a really young age. How's next season looking? What's the goals? Have you had time to kind of reflect on Chicago, on the relay, and on your solo? And have you set any goals for the next season coming up that you don't have to share? If not, feel free. Or do you have tips on how to set goals if you don't want to share your goals?
No, I've set like a 3-year goal. So I've still got 3 years left in my age category. So I would love, I know World Champs is definitely a goal of mine. So to qualify probably in Glasgow, like I say, I like the same course because you can genuinely measure your own performance on that. Every course is different and that's fine. But for me, I know exactly where I'm at with my time in Glasgow. So I would love to break the 105, the 65 minutes. Fingers crossed. The way that training's going, I'm really happy. I've got no injuries, touch wood. So yeah, 105, hopefully break that in Glasgow. I'd love to get some mixed doubles under my belt as well, with Matt. I think that kind of brings me back down to earth and makes me realise how much I love it. I mean, it's absolutely savage, but good savage. I like being in a pain cave. So a couple of mixed doubles, and who knows if Graham's doing the relay again, then maybe put my name forward for that as well.
What age category are you in, Emma?
25 to 29 or 30.
25 to 29.
Yeah, 29.
Oh, young. Yeah. And so I'm guessing your 3-year goal is Elite 15, or to break into like maybe like getting around an hour or something, an hour or two to get into that Elite 15 field, I guess.
Yeah, I think to put my name in the hat to be in the running for the Elite 15, whether that's get a ranking in the top 20 or like just to put my name up there, because I didn't actually think it was possible until, based off my time, people will probably look at it and be like, you're still a fair bit off. But it's 3 years away, and the way how many new girls came in this year it's actually really nice, and gives you a wee bit of hope. Why can't it be me if I'm willing to, if I know what I want and I'm willing to get there, then yeah, who knows? So that's definitely a 3-year goal. I think it's important that you see the bigger picture, not just go into every race and look for a PB, because the reality of that happening is kind of slim. It could be your day, it could not be your day, other factors affect it. So as long as you feel good in training and you can take small wins from your race, I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, and I think it is good to be, like, you can't be rushed, can it? Like it's an endurance sport, and patience and not rushing the process means that hopefully you'll have longevity in the sport, rather than trying to push the process and get these like crazy times straight away, risking injury, risking blowing up in a race. And I think you're very wise to trust the process, I guess, and just commit to the hard work to get there.
I mean, anyone who knows me who's listening is probably laughing because I've got the least patience in the world. But for this, I have patience.
Yeah, I think you have to. I think because you can be lucky, you can break. It's not luck, but break straight into the Elite 15, like Joe, like Sinead or Emily. They're like incredible runners, and they broke straight in. But exactly how you've said, it's given people hope that I think the Elite 15 blew up this year, both on the men's side and the women's side, and new faces have come in, and it's shaken up the sport at the top end, and maybe made people realize that it is achievable and it is open to everyone, and it's not just the same 15 names that are going to always be at the top of the sport.
Absolutely. And they're all incredible athletes. I mean, I wish I could just break into it. That's amazing. But I think if I'm close or if I'm up there, I know that's testament to my hard work, and I know that I have played the long game, and for me, like, that would mean a lot. And knowing that it's all been worth it. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
And consistency pays off. It does, like consistency in the sport, not giving up, like just playing the long game. Like, I think a lot of people also come into the sport and do a race or a couple of races, and then they go on to the next thing and they want to try something else. And some people aren't in it for the longevity and to try and like keep climbing the rankings, and the sport's evolving. I think like there's a chance of seeing elite mixed doubles and more categories. Maybe it won't always be the Elite 15, maybe it will be Elite 20, Elite 30. I think there is so much happening with the sport. Like, if you keep putting your head down and keep working hard, then who knows what's going to happen.
Absolutely. And I think the past year has been like a real game changer for me. I thought my HYROX career would be over before I started my job. I think I just kind of shut down, how could I possibly do this, and this? But, reality is everyone does it. I think I just put so much pressure on myself. So now I know that I can do both. It's exciting. And, I keep them both very separate. I could train at work, and they've got an amazing facility, but there's something about it. Like, when I go to work, I'm, a teacher, and I like to come home and then be an athlete. I like the separation. I mean, I might be making life harder for myself, but that's the way it works, and that's the way I'm doing it. So
So you've got to do what works for you. And sometimes, yeah, having that separation is good. And we've talked to quite a few people on this podcast about having something else aside from just being a HYROX athlete, because people, if you use a HYROX athlete as your identity, maybe when a race doesn't go so well, your world caves in. But if you've got to go back to work on the Monday and all these kids are inspired by you and chatting and asking you if you won, and even if you had a bad race, you know, you've got something else, and you've got another priority and a passion in your life that doesn't make you just HYROX, so you can go back to the drawing board and move on, and it's not like your world is caving in because you had one bad race.
Absolutely. And I think when I did have my little time away from the sport, I think that's when I learned that, you know, I'm Emma who does HYROX, but I'm also so much more, you know, and I think having that, HYROX is a hobby for me, it's not my life. And I think that's so important. You know, I don't know about yourselves, but I look on social media, every single person I know does HYROX. It's like everywhere, which is great, you know, great for the sport. But I think sometimes you do need to check out. I mean, it's so funny. Sometimes on a Monday morning, or even, you know, a Wednesday morning or whatever, when I've trained early, the kids ask, Miss Dearden, is your patient's jar full or empty? And I'm like, it's getting empty, but we'll work on it. You know, they know me so well. But I would never want, you know, my tiredness or anything like that to take away from my job, because that's what I say. Like, I like to keep it separate.
No, that's fair. And do you get hungry?
Oh yeah.
I feel like patience and hungry, that they go together.
Maybe it's an Emma thing, you know.
Yeah,
if you're
a
called
Scottish
Emma
thing.
Scottish,
Yeah.
then you're gonna get hangry and have not much patience.
Go and eat some haggis and whatever else. Tatty scones.
I think fueling for HYROX is just a whole nother ballgame. When you're training 2-3 times a day, it's you know, mental how much you have to consume. But I've come from an eating disorder background, so for me it's such a conscious effort to, I mean, I don't track, I don't know how much I burn, I don't know how much I eat, but I mean, it's going well, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not under fueling by the looks of things and by the feel of things. So yeah, it's just a conscious effort to just keep munching throughout the day.
Yeah, definitely. And do you find, like, you're obviously, when you're not in your 6-week holiday full-time athlete mode, you're very busy, training potentially very early and late and around work. How do you find, like, scheduling, like, your food? Like, do you try and prep? Do you like eat similar things every day? Do you grab and go, or do you have any kind of routines with it that people might be able to take some tips from?
Yeah, so I think routine's key for me, and it always has been. I'm very, like, particular. I mean, our food shop every week is the exact same. We used to do meal prep, but you know, it got to the stage that we're like, oh, come on, like, we should be cooking ourselves. So everything is pretty much the same. When I'm on holiday and stuff, it's like, it's different. I'm not that particular about it, but I think there has to be some sort of order, because you know that it works, you know that it sits well in your stomach, you know you have this before, you know you have that after, you know it works, so why change it?
Yeah. No, that's fair. And do you feel during a HYROX race? Do you take any gels or anything like that?
So there's a funny video of me at Glasgow, and I sometimes have Percy Pigs down my sports bra, but I also put a gel, like, at the back of my shorts, and I just totally forgot about it. So on the wall balls, it's obviously, like, opened a wee bit, and every time I go down for a squat, there's like this jelly coming out, and I'm like, what is that? So I do take a gel either after the row or after the burpees, but I don't take the whole gel. I just take a scoosh. I think it's more mental than anything else. But I have been looking at fueling, like, in sessions, more so this season than I have done. Just because I'm just so worried it doesn't sit well, and then that's, you know, everything thrown off. So yeah, I'm still looking around my in race and in training sessions as well.
Yeah, it's part of training. It's just learning to fuel when you're training or when you're on a run or during a session is part of training. Like you have to train your stomach just like you train for the rest of
Absolutely.
your body. Hey, so it's a process as well of understanding what digests well and what you can eat and what you can't eat, and being
Yeah,
able to find the right amount of fuel for whatever session it is, or to fuel the next session. Because I think we've all been there where you've not fueled enough and you're like, oh no, this is I mean you were there the other day, weren't you, Em? Yeah, you
I
just
did it in a
hit the
session
wall.
like last week or 2 weeks ago, and I fully bonked mid skier, and Faye and Jade witnessed it, and I was like, I'm out. I know what's wrong. It's my own fault. I should have taken more fuel on, and this is the result. I cannot carry on. And they were like, what is wrong with you? But you learn from it, and
absolutely.
you've got to
work out what works for you as well, isn't it? It's so different. Like what you might do, Emma, is different to what you do, Emma, which is different to what I do, and we just all have to find out what works best for our bodies.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, there's so much, you can push through. There's only so much pushing through you can do, sorry. Oh, I feel a bit like faint and lightheaded, but training on that, like you're not going to improve, and you're not going to gain more strength, you're not going to probably gain more fitness. So I personally don't see the point in training if you're not doing the other.
Yeah, 100%. And like if anyone is listening, they haven't listened to our episode with Stacey Sims, like right now, I know we're all talking about it, but yeah, I think the importance for females for fueling and for performance, if you actually want to do well and fuel your body so it doesn't break down and you do get the performance benefits. Anyone that's trying to push the barriers or get these PBs or make their HYROX race faster, it's a massive part of the game.
I know, and I think that's the change, I had. I mean, it's been 6 years now since I was really ill, so it's training for performance rather than how you look. And I think that's, I think it's actually improving a lot with, the Elite 15 girls, and even, the men, preaching that and fuel for performance. But I think the number of eating disorders and body dysmorphia that are coming through the schools and things, it's frightening. So I think definitely still work needs to be done about that.
And do you think that's like social media? Do you think the yeah?
Yeah, I mean, social media can be, amazing. It's people's jobs. It can be such a inspiring place, but I also think it can be such a damaging and false place at times. And I think those who have a big, huge following, and I think they should really be wary that the next generation are looking. Yeah, I think it's a big responsibility.
Yeah, huge. I mean, I can't imagine. I'm really glad I was a kid that didn't grow up with social media, I've got to admit. But even just, I guess, magazines and stuff when you were that young were like our influence, weren't they? But it's so unrestricted now as to who can have an influence and who people follow, and you just hope that people take into account that impressionable kids might be watching, and maybe sharing a bit more of the truth might actually help, rather than just sharing the nice tanned photos of you that when you've just done a set and you're all pumped and you look great and you've got a six-pack.
I know, like that's, it's probably all over our feed because they're the people that we follow, like the fitness world, but that's only like 1% of the population. That's like the athletes. For me, if you're, aged 11 or 12, I don't think you should know what calorie counting is. I don't think you should, be aware, oh, I need to lose weight. Like that shouldn't even be in the realm of your vocabulary. But again, I think they've heard that from somewhere, whether that's parents, whether that's online, they've been around that. So I just think it's one thing we need to be conscious of.
Yeah. And do you speak about it in PE lessons, like fueling your body and stuff? Does that come in at school now?
Yeah.
Or, yeah, that's cool.
Part of our PSE, I've done a couple of talks about my journey. The last school I was at. I think it always hits more when they know the person and it can actually happen to anyone. I mean, me at school, if people said that, you know, I'd be in hospital with anorexia, I think they would have been like, who, Emma? Like, I was just never like that. So, yeah, definitely raise awareness, and I'm definitely pushing it to be more prevalent in the PSE course for sure.
Yeah, well, kudos to you for sharing it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
and you will inspire like kids, because kids do take note. Like
Yeah.
you go back to where, and like if you are a, you know, you probably are someone that they look up to, and if you're racing for Scotland and stuff, and if they see that you've been through that journey and you've come out the other side, it's great. Like you said, it's relatable, isn't it?
Yeah, but again, it's made me the teacher and athlete that I am today. So as much as, you know, it took its toll, yeah, probably wouldn't have changed it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh no, yeah, like it's a really important message, and it's so good to share and to try and raise awareness and to like encourage, well, women and men, like young girls and young boys, just to look at training and eating as something good and not something to make them smaller or change the way they look. It should elevate you, not like hurt
it's not
you.
punishment, is it?
Yeah, it's a positive thing. So no, definitely. Well, that probably leads us nicely then on to asking you the last question, which would be, what message or advice would you give to your younger self or the next generation of girls coming up?
So I broke this into two. So I would, the advice I'd give myself is never compare yourself to others. You know, like I say, I spent years trying to change the way I looked. So your journey is your journey, and, you know, appreciate your body for what it can do, not what it can look like. You know, now I train solely for performance, and, you know, aesthetics come along with that naturally. That means nothing. It's definitely more performance based. And I'm lucky enough to, you know, teach the next generation. So I always work by be the hardest worker in the room, no matter which room where you are. So, you know, I hopefully give that to the girls and boys that I teach. Be it whatever you want to follow, you be that hardest worker in the room, and, you know, no one can take that away from you. So yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like that's a personal answer and a teacher answer. I like it. And it's right. It's so right. So, and we've not had that one yet. So I like your answer. A plus.
I don't think that's before.
And then for anyone that would like to follow your journey, see what next season looks like, see how you get on, if you represent Scotland again, or if they had any questions about how you managed to break that sub 70 barrier, which so many people are trying to break, where can they find you?
So I'm mainly on Instagram. Obviously have to be really careful with being a teacher and things like that, but it is public. So I've changed it to Emma Jane Online Coach. So M_J_7. And
then you do online coaching as well?
Yeah, so I've got 4 or 5 clients at the moment. I mean, I've probably got room for about 6 or 7, but, you know, working full time, it's a lot. So yeah, if you're interested, I'd love to have you on board. Just DM me on my Instagram, and it's mainly for the everyday athletes who is struggling, be it a mum, be it working full time, and just working around your schedule to, work on your goals.
Yeah. Is it just, do you do HYROX running, or is it anything, or?
Yeah, I don't like to say, well, I'm not like an official HYROX coach. So I'm very much just hybrid running. I've got my, you know, qualifications, but just not a HYROX.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I just thought, if someone, it doesn't do HYROX but wants to come and work with you to just do a fast 5K or get into running or something like that, that's still cool.
So running plans, one of my clients just messaged me there. She got an amazing 8K PB. So it's little things like that, you know, that's why you love doing it. You see you're making a difference, which is great.
Agreed.
Oh no, thank you so much. Like, it's been so lovely to chat, and I think there's so much to take away from this episode. So hopefully everyone's enjoyed listening, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do you want to say bye, Mona?
And the cutest Cocker Spaniel ever. So yeah, thank you very much, and we will see you next week.
Thank you very much. Bye.